Are you a millennial who's felt broke for the past 15 years? Like you know you want to be rich, but you just can't see a path to getting there from where you are? Well, if that's you, you're not alone. According to the most recent data available from the Federal Reserve, the median net worth for millennials under 35 is $39,040. And that amount is just not enough for anything. It's not enough for you to be able to quit your job or to retire. It's not enough for you to feel like you're rich. Hell, it's not even enough for you to feel like you're safe. And look, I get it. As millennials, we've had to live through the '08 recession, the pandemic, the student loan crisis. I mean, some millennials are pushing 40, and we still have the older generations calling us soft, entitled participation trophy kiddos who just don't work hard enough. But the truth is, complaining isn't going to change your financial situation. And the wealth divide between the haves and the have-nots is growing. Studies have shown that while the average millennial is 30% poorer than boomers were when they were their same age, the top 10% of millennials are richer than any generation before them. So if you want to be part of that group, then it's time to start taking actions and actually doing something to move the needle. If you're ready to do whatever it takes to become wealthy, I'm going to give you 7 tips that I know will take you out of financial mediocrity and towards achieving true wealth. First, you're going to need some form of side hustle or extra income stream. One survey from LendingTree found that about half of millennials have a side hustle, and for the ones that do, their average income from it is about $1,300 a month. Look, I know we're all tired from our day jobs, and maybe the last thing you want to hear me say is that you need to be working more or taking on an extra gig on the weekends. But that is what it's going to take if you want to get wealthy. I don't know about you, but an extra $1,300 a month sounds pretty awesome. That money could be the difference between you paying off your student loans in 2 years or paying them off in 20. It could be what lets you save and afford a down payment for your first home. So if you're one of the half of millennials watching this who only have income through their primary job, it's time to start something.
So, you want to start a business. How do you start?
Making side hustle money is easier than it's ever been. Just take your hobby or your topic of interest, find the platform that lets you monetize it. Let's say you're a graphic designer or you're a writer. Then you need to be freelancing on Fiverr or Upwork and getting paid on the weekends for that work. If you grew up playing varsity soccer, you could easily become a coach on CoachUp and charge people $100 an hour to teach their kids some basic at a local park. Or even start an Etsy if you're more hands-on and you like to make jewelry or clothing. When you're online, the entire world is your marketplace. It is the Wild West out here. The opportunities to make money are plentiful no matter what hobby or interest you have. But most people just don't start. That's the problem. If you never start, you will never know what could have been. These days, a primary income just isn't enough to cut it for most people. So please, list your services on any platform and just try it out for a few months on the weekends. If you want to become truly rich, you're going to need to figure out an extra way to bring money in the door. Second, you need to start your retirement savings now. The best time to start saving for retirement was yesterday. The second best time is today. A study from John Hancock shows that 66% of working millennials have nothing, zero, saved for retirement. Quote, instead they're busy paying down debt and covering their general living expenses, while saving for retirement is pushed to the bottom of their priority list. Listen, retirement savings should be a top priority for you. There are all kinds of tax and employer benefits that come from contributing to these accounts, and your money needs time to grow. You are losing so much potential and gains by not investing today. Let's take a real-world example. Look at Sarah. She's a 30-year-old typical millennial. She loves Taylor Swift and probably has a favorite Harry Potter house. Let's assume she has $0 saved for retirement and starts putting away only $500 a month. If she were to start saving now at 30, by the time she retires, she will have about $1.5 million. But if she waits just 5 years to start, she'll still end up a millionaire, but barely. That 5-year delay is going to have cost her $500,000 in potential profits. And if she were to wait until she's 40, she's going to end up with only about $550,000 by retirement age. So just by starting in her early 30s, Sarah can achieve millionaire status even with small monthly contributions. But time is critical. If you haven't yet started saving for retirement or your contribution rate is low, step 1 is to sign up for your employer's 401k plan. Email your company's HR and find out if your employer gives you a 401k match. This just means for every dollar you put into that account up to a limit, your employer will also put $1 into the account.
It's free money.
That is free money. They are doubling your contribution, and every single person on the planet, no matter how old you are, needs to be getting that match. Next, once you've got that 401k match handled, you can also sign up for a Roth IRA account. Roth IRAs let you invest money and pay no taxes on all the profit you make within the account when you go to withdraw it in retirement. My third tip for you, be cheap and live frugally. One recent study by Sunmark Credit Union found that the average millennial is spending $208.77 a day just to exist. That includes your rent, your groceries, and all other sources of spending. That comes out to nearly $1,500 a week in baseline spending and about $6,000 a month. That is a crazy amount for the average person to spend. I mean, unless you're making over 150 grand a year in salary, that leaves almost nothing for you to save for retirement or invest in property or to do any of the things that are actually going to make you rich. Think about it. Why on earth are you working so hard at a job you don't even like, only to waste that money and guarantee you will never be able to leave that job? I'm not saying you can't get your daily coffee or spend money on experiences here or there, but if you ever find yourself thinking, well, gee, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I don't know where all the money is going, then you have a problem. Understand that that is what's keeping you poor. It's that money you are not accounting for. That money is the difference maker. It's every time you spend money on total nonsense like food delivery services or a third pair of Hokas or your Tinder premium membership. Just give it up, man. Look, inflation is bad enough. Don't make things worse for yourself by buying crap you don't actually need. Challenge yourself to have days where your only goal is to spend nothing. Cook food you already have at home. Pack a lunch when you go to work. Go through your subscriptions and cancel things you aren't actually needing or using. And really, anytime you want to buy clothes or new stuff, stop. Give yourself a day before you actually click the buy button. The odds are you probably don't need that thing, you just want the feeling that comes with spending your money. Instead of buying an Apple Watch, maybe buy some Apple stock. Trust me, that's a much better use of your dollars. Fourth, be aware of the feeling of money dysmorphia and don't let it affect you. According to Bloomberg, money dysmorphia is defined as, quote, a feeling of insecurity around your financial situation, even when the true picture reveals little cause for concern. Some 43% of Gen Z and 41% of millennials say they suffer from a flawed perception of their finances. While this might sound like just another form of TikTok-invented anxiety, it's a very real thing that can cause you to make some stupid financial decisions. Millennials especially have survived crisis after crisis, so much so that we're just wired to have a scarcity mindset and to be overly pessimistic about our finances. When we look at social media and compare ourselves to random 20-year-olds driving Lambos or flying private jets around the world, not only do you feel bitter and jealous, it also makes you more likely to emotionally spend because you start feeling financially hopeless. I want you to completely abandon that negative mindset and start thinking logically. Realize, financially speaking, millennials, you are all still young. Most millennials are about to start their prime earning years, so the odds are you're going to make more money in the next 10 to 15 years than you ever have in your life. You still have decades to build wealth. So if you don't yet own a home or have a fat retirement account, relax. You're going to be fine. You just need to work on prioritizing savings, cutting back on your spending, and making more money. So stop comparing yourself to others on social media. Hell, just uninstall social media completely and disregard this feeling of money dysmorphia. Fifth, take advantage of as many tax hacks as you can. Are you paying tuition? Well, you might qualify for an education credit. Paying off your student loans? You can deduct the interest on the payments you're making. Did you just have a kid? Well, better make sure you file for the child tax credit, dependency exemption, and/or a child care credit. And if you have a side hustle that makes even a few $100s this year, you can get a tax credit on the gas money you spent to travel for that gig or any of the equipment you might have bought for the business. There are over 100 federal tax breaks that almost nobody takes advantage of because they aren't itemized or tax deductions. Now, I'm no accountant, but I do know if you aren't taking advantage of these tax strategies, you could be losing thousands when it comes to your refund check at the end of every year. So if you want to double that refund check, I do recommend at least once in the next couple of years scheduling time with a tax professional to discuss the options you have to save more money on your taxes and get a bigger refund check by the end of the year. It is going to cost you money to speak to a CPA and have them do your taxes, but trust me, it'll pay for itself, especially if you have a side hustle or a family or some kind of situation, because you're going to get a lot more on your refund check than you would for the consultation. Sixth, I want you to set up automatic withdrawals from your checking accounts for every time a paycheck hits and apply that money to debt paydown. It is not enough to be paying minimums on your high interest debt. You need to prioritize your paycheck money towards going to eliminating credit card debt before you spend a penny on shopping or wants and subscriptions. According to the latest report from the Federal Reserve, millennials are more in credit card debt than they've ever been. Outstanding credit card balances are 15% higher right now than they were last year at the same time. We're continuing to have record high rates of missed payments. The Fed even singled out millennials as the group struggling the most with credit debt. Quote, millennials stood out, the New York Fed researchers told reporters. Borrowers between the ages of 30 and 39 are slipping into delinquency at a faster pace compared to other age groups. It's perplexing. Americans aged 18 to 29 had the highest delinquency rates in the fourth quarter, according to the Fed. At least 10% of them were seriously delinquent. That's over 90 plus days behind on their payments. It's followed by the 30 to 39-year-olds who had delinquency rates of just under 9%.
Debt collectors are pounding at the door.
Now, missing even one credit card payment absolutely nukes your credit score for up to 7 years. It means you're likely going to pay significantly more the next time you want to finance a car or buy that first home. Millennials, you just can't afford to make mistakes with credit cards like this, or you're going to be stuck paying minimums on monthly payments for the rest of your life. So if you're someone who carries an open balance on your credit cards, you need to be setting automatic payments out of your checking account that immediately go towards paying more than just the minimums on your debt. Sort your debts from highest interest rate to lowest, and make sure with every paycheck you get, you pull money first and foremost out of your check and put it towards paying down the highest interest debt. Now, this is going to leave less money in your accounts to spend on fun stuff or travel or clothes, but that's the point. By taking the money out immediately, we don't even get to think about spending it. Just know, money that you're using to pay down credit card debt is the best use of a dollar that you can have pretty much. So make it automatic and just don't even think twice about it. My seventh and last tip for you is to avoid the trap that is car ownership. The best guideline that I've seen for car ownership is that a car should be worth no more than 5% of your net worth or 10% of your yearly income, whatever's higher. So if you're making $80,000 a year, your car should be worth $8,000. That's what you can afford. You can't be looking at Audis, BMWs, or Range Rovers. You should be looking at 5 to 10-year-old pre-owned reliable cars like Civics and Camrys. And even then, we're talking about basic models, no trim, maybe a bit of paint scuffs on the side door. But that's what you can actually afford. As of 2024, the average new car payment is $738 a month for an average term of over 6 years. That kind of debt just chunking away at your paycheck every month is going to destroy your financial peace. It's no wonder that Newsweek reported that millennials are increasingly seeing their cars face repossession, with calls to attorneys regarding the topic reaching levels not seen since the pandemic.
Better call Saul.
Ultimately, the typical millennial will stay broke, and you're going to need to act completely differently from them if you want a different result. Because these days, every financial mistake we make is amplified. You take on too much of a car loan or you overspend on online shopping, there goes all the money that could have been applied towards building your wealth. So you have to make the changes now to do the things that rich people are doing. Start that side business. Squeeze every dollar you can out of your paycheck and funnel it into investing in assets, into your retirement accounts, into stock accounts, into down payment on real estate. It is not an easy road, but it is so much better than us being broke for the rest of our lives. With that, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you got this far in the video, leave a comment down below letting me know what is the biggest factor holding you back from being wealthy. Until next time.